Hey guys, today I want to talk about, is it worth it to keep your home base home back in your country, whether it be the US or France or Germany or Canada or what have you. And we have people over here that do keep their homes. Some people actually have two homes back home, and sometimes in two different countries. And a lot of these people are happy with what they're doing. They're okay with it because they have the income to do that. The majority of people here don't have that kind of income. But I have people asking me, hey Steve, is it worth it for me to keep my home base? Or should I just get rid of it? Well, here's where it depends. If you really like it in the Philippines and you're planning on staying here and you don't have much to go back to, it's probably worth letting it go. If you have family back there that you love and you care about and they care about you, then it might be worthwhile to have it too. Also, you have to weigh out budgets. What is my income? How much is it going to cost me in the Philippines? Philippines is pretty reasonable. But when you move, you're still going to be paying for food. You're still going to be paying for electricity. You're still going to be paying for, all the things that you do back home basically, but it's cheaper to live here. Now, for some people, it just means shutting down their house if you live in Florida or something like that, and you don't have to worry too much about it. But up north, if it's freezing during the winter, you have to keep the heat on. Or you have to let somebody live in there to take care of the property. There's a lot of concerns you got to worry about, and you got to weigh these things out and say, is it worth it for me to do this? Should I do this? And for me, I wouldn't, because I don't go back. I probably will go back at some point just to visit, but is it worth it just to go back for 2 weeks and still have a piece of property and always have that there? Probably not. You have to weigh out these things. But some people here, what they do is they go home and they stay home for, let's say, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, or they might go home for a whole year or what have you. That's what you have to weigh out, and you have to think out all these different things and say, I'm not sure if I think it's worth it to keep a place back home and have a place over here. Also, when you sell your home back home, here's the big one. It gives you the extra income that you need over here for insurance, health insurance, life insurance, things like that for your family over here. And most guys come over here, they're gonna have a family over here for sure. Either they're gonna have a girlfriend and the girlfriend's gonna have a family. And most guys over here get pretty close with their family. And sometimes a family will adopt them. And we see that also. They just get adopted. They don't wanna have a girlfriend. They just wanna, have fun and enjoy life and get close with people, and that's great, and we have that also over here. And in our community, we have an awesome community. I got to tell you, we adopt just about everybody into our community family, I guess what you could call it. It's almost like a family, and everybody just kind of helps everybody out when they see a need. If it's for a Filipino that's part of the community, because we have Filipinos that are in the community too that help us and work with us and stuff like that, and they do a lot of things to help us, and they're like ready to jump up all the time for us when we need something. So in all fairness to them, we need to jump up for them when they need something, and we have the wherewithal to help them sometimes. Some of us do, some of us don't, and we like to be there for them too. But if you're thinking about keeping your house back home, here's the key thing. When you're retired, you want to live, you want to travel, you want to go out and do things, you want to stay places, go to resorts. Some of us don't. I understand it. Some people are older, they just want to rest, relax, just kind of kick back and chill at the beach or stay at home, chit chat with their friends or meet up. One thing about our community, we have that cabana, and that's all the guys, the expats cabana. And we use that when we sit there and talk and chat and enjoy life there. And we really, really love having that cabana there. It's really, really nice having that. And it makes a difference. But anyway, most of the people that come here, they don't want to go back. There are some people that have family. They're going to stay here. They're going to go back for a while. We have a guy up in Alaska. He has a business there. He probably is going to jump back and forth, I'll say, from what I'm seeing when he gets here. I haven't talked to him in a few weeks, but I know when he comes here, he wants to go back and forth to keep his business going. Eventually, he might close down his business or whatever and just stay here permanently. I'm not sure what he's going to do. But what I recommend is this. If you're gonna go home, just stay at a hotel for a couple weeks, visit your family. You're probably better off than keeping a house and having all those expenses. That's my thoughts on it. If you're gonna go back for months on end, 4 months, 3 months, then obviously you're probably gonna need a house. But do you need a house, or do you need a 1-bedroom condo or a studio condo? It might be worth it for you to reconsider your home situation and sell it and take some of the profits for your retirement, and then possibly buy like a 1-bedroom or a studio apartment or what have you, and do it that way. That might be the way to do it. You know, there's all kinds of different ways you can do this. Also, maybe your home has a place over the garage. You could build a studio apartment up there, or a 1-bedroom apartment above the garage, and maybe you want to leave your property to your kids or something like that. There's all kinds of different scenarios here that you can look at, and there's all different kinds of different ways to skin a cat, obviously, in this situation. What I say is this: you know, if you have something like that, you might want to rent it. It could be extra income for you. That's a thing too. And maybe put somebody like a real estate agent or a family member in charge of that, collect the rents for you, give them a little piece of the money or whatever. Make sure you have insurance on it and everything, so that way there, if something happens, if you get a water leak or something like that and it does some damage, you have that all covered. It's all set to roll. But, you know, for most people that come here, most people don't have the income to be flying back and forth and have a house back in the United States or back in Canada or the UK or whatever. They just don't have the income. You know, that's the majority of people over here. Even in the sweet spot, it would be pretty rough to do that. The sweet spot is just meant to have good living here, the $2,000 to $3,000 range. That is like for excellent living over here. It kind of covers all your needs. It covers your insurance, and it gives you a little bit of money for savings to maybe travel back home for a couple of weeks or whatever. It gives you that extra boost, you know, because over here you can live cheap. I mean, over here, I find most people can spend money pretty easily over here, you know, pretty freely. And if you are on a budget over here, like a tight budget, you're still living pretty good. You're not living bad. You might have to walk places. You might have to not travel as far, or maybe you're not going to be going out to eat as much like I do, and I love going out to eat. But I mean, you know, that's the things that we have to all consider over here is take that into your consideration when you're thinking about keeping one of these homes or whatever. Because like I said, if you rented it out, you can get more income. If you sell it, you can get more income. If you sell it and you buy a studio or something like that, maybe that's the way to go. You know, and then you have the best of both worlds. You still have a place to go back home. You're all set to go. You don't have to worry. Or maybe if you live in a place like Florida or something like that, maybe you want to get a timeshare, or South Carolina, even North Carolina and Florida has timeshares down here. I don't recommend timeshares really, because I think they're a ripoff. But I know some people that enjoy them, and they like them, and they think that they're great. And it's not that much money. It's actually fairly reasonable. Maybe you like to go back for 2 weeks. You can stay at the timeshare if it's near your family or whatever. Stay there. That's also an alternative. You have all these different options, obviously. But for me myself, I would sell everything off and come here, because that way there you can pretty much choose the way you want to live and how you want to live over here, and make this your home. If you want to fly back once in a while and see your family, then fly back and maybe stay with the family or whatever if you wanted to. That's probably the best alternative. Like I said, unless you have a business back home, unless you want to go back home for 3 to 6 months or something like that, and you know, maybe come here for the winter and then go back there for the summer. That's also an alternative. You know, it gives you 6 months here, 6 months there. And some guys like to do that. But to each his own, I guess you could say. In this case here, I've had many people ask me, what should I do? I think it's a decision you kind of have to look at. And you know, if you have family back there, like I said, that's one thing. If you don't have family, then I would say sell everything off and come here, you know, and just stay here. Because your life is going to change when you get here. You're going to obviously get in close with people and tight with people, and eventually they'll become your family too. God bless, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.